and welcome to today's episode of the Mrs. Amma Show, career segment. It promises to be engaging and informative as usual. The topic of today's episode is 10 habits of highly ineffective managers. Have you ever worked for a manager that was out of this world? And I don't mean this in a good way. Some managers thrive on creating a very stressful environment, maybe due to the fact that they are inexperienced or they're quite young in that role. Others may have inherited some bad managerial traits from their own supervisors and don't know of any other way to manage people. So, if you are one of such managers, and I'm addressing you now, if you are one of such managers that imbibe in one or more of these traits I'm getting ready to discuss, now is the time to turn a new leaf. Drop those traits. Let's flip things around. Drop those traits and turn a new leaf. So I have my cheat sheet here, and I'm going to be looking at the points periodically just so I don't forget the 10 points. So number 1 is not delegating. And what do I mean by not delegating? Some managers are what I call hoarders. They just like to hoard tasks. They want to do everything themselves, and they don't believe in delegating duties down to their team members. And it could be for one of two reasons. One, it's either they are not confident in their team members' capabilities or abilities to do the job effectively, or two, they're simply afraid of being irrelevant in their own role to the extent that team members are now able to do their own jobs. This only leads to a highly demoralized staff and teammates. Not good. 2, micromanaging. Okay, so some managers get it. They know how to delegate and they do it so well. But then on the flip side, they constantly hover around the team members, breathing down their necks, breathing down their shoulders, asking for a status update every minute, sitting there with them and trying to show them how it's done every step of the way, every minute, not letting the team members be. Not good either. Micromanaging never works out. 3, always unavailable. Have you ever worked for a manager who was just always unavailable? This manager just comes in late every time, and even when the manager is in the office or in the building, is locked up in his or her office, the door is always shut, never available for team meetings, never available to the team members in those times where the work is really pressing and the team member needs to bounce some of his or her ideas off the boss. The manager is just simply unavailable, just highly unavailable, just highly ineffective. Number 4, totally unreasonable. Let me give an example of this, because the other day I was speaking with a friend and I brought up the topic of being totally unreasonable. And the lady was like, well, what do you mean by that? This is what I mean by a manager who is totally unreasonable. And this really happened to a friend of mine, a colleague of mine. So she went to her boss to inform the boss. This was on a Monday, and she had a doctor's appointment coming up on the Friday. So she went to the boss and just told the boss that, hey, I've got a doctor's appointment coming up on Friday. It's at 1 p.m. Just to let you know, just so you have it in mind. And her boss told her that, well, that's fine, but just restrict it to 30 minutes. Make sure you're back by 1:30 because we have a lot of work to do. We've got some assignments that just came on to our laps that need to be completed, before the weekend. So there's a lot to be done. So make sure you're only there for 30 minutes and you're back by 1:30. Like, what planet is that manager on? I mean, what? I could not believe my ears when she told me. So since when is she, again, what planet is that manager on? Since when are doctor's visits, the time you spend at doctor's visits, predictable? What? Number 5, avoid confrontation. Some managers are consensus driven. They're highly consensus driven. They like to get the team members all in one room. Let's discuss and hash out a particular problem, and let's all agree to a decision that needs to be made. So all of us, we'll come to this consensus, and then that's a decision that needs to be made. Not all times do we have to reach consensus. In short, as a manager, you should be prepared. As a manager, one should be prepared to make decisions not on a consensus basis, but based on the facts and circumstances at the time. Number 6, lacks decision-making skills. This sort of goes hand in hand with the consensus, making decision in consensus. Some managers are just so indecisive, it is unbelievable. And it's so detrimental, and it leads to, demoralized staff. It leads to lack of empowerment. It's just a bad trait. As a manager, you need to learn to be decisive at all times. It is key. Number 7, has a foul mouth. This is one bad trait I detest with every fiber of my being. For some managers, every other word is a cuss word. It's either they're throwing the F bombs or the S bombs at the workplace. I mean, how unprofessional is that? Number 8, cannot deal with pressure. Some managers, when there's pressure coming from above, from his or her supervisors or boss from above, some managers can't deal with it. And the only way they deal with it is by screaming at their subordinates or barking orders at them, as if they were speaking or dealing with a belligerent child. I mean, who does that? If you scream, you as a manager, if you have this bad trait and you scream and bark orders at your child at home, leave that in the house. Don't bring it to the workplace. This is a professional environment. Do not go to work screaming and barking orders at your subordinates or at anyone, not even at the mailman or the receptionist. I don't care. So unprofessional. Stop it. Number 9, snitching. Some managers, they like to pit one team member against another, or a group of team members against another group of team members. They go to this particular team member and they go, you know what, so bring me periodic reports on what you guys discuss, what Timmy thinks, what are they on about, I need to know what's always going on, whose side are they on, just snitching and encouraging snitching. That's just not, that is so second grade. Just drop it. Number 10, bad mouthing his or her own boss. I mean, I, as a subordinate, if I had to sit there in your office every time and listen to you badmouth your own boss, how exactly do you think I would respect you? I mean, how do you think I would see you? You know, what kind of respect do you think I will have for you? And if you can badmouth your boss, what else can you say about everyone else, about me, about your subordinates, about your peers? It's just bad practice, just so unprofessional. So the bottom line is, if you are a manager and you're sitting and watching this vlog and you currently exhibit any of these 10 traits of highly ineffective managers, drop it. Drop it. Now is the time to turn a new leaf. I'm all about flipping things around. Let's flip this around. Let us drop these bad traits. Let us pick up the reverse of these bad traits that will make us highly effective managers. These days, there are tons of self-help books that we can buy. You know, go grab a copy or two. Read it, learn to develop yourself professionally, learn to develop yourself personally. Attend workshops and conferences on personal development or how to manage people. And, you know, imbibe some of those key lessons that they preach. Imbibe them in our professional lives. At this juncture, my key to all of us out there is we have what it takes to become highly effective managers. Let's go forth and conquer. We can do this. Put the energy into it, give it 110%, and make the resolve to create a professionally conducive work environment. So until the next time on my next vlog, I say go forth, conquer, and you stay well.